Welcome to Executives at the Edge, the podcast from Amplify. Each episode features insights from the top network, cloud, and technology executives, giving you key takeaways to help you grow your revenue and bring solutions to market faster. I'm your host, Pascal Menezes. Join me as we explore thought-provoking perspectives from the leaders and changemakers propelling the AI-powered digital economy forward. Well, I'm really super excited to have Fleming Shi. He's the CTO from Nitel Connectivity and Platforms at Comcast Business. And today we're going to cover a really fascinating bunch of areas around AI. Of course, everybody's talking about AI. We're going to talk about, why connectivity and AI go together, and also the agentic realms of AI agents, and also where they're going to play in the world of edge and compute and physical AI and so on. So a really interesting episode. With that, Fleming, welcome to Executives at the Edge. And for our listeners, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and really Nitel Connectivity Platforms at Comcast Business?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, Pascal. Glad to be here. A little bit about myself. I joined Comcast through acquisition of Nitel last year. And I was the CTO at Nitel, running cybersecurity, IT, as well as software development. The primary reason we came into Comcast was our ability to aggregate a lot of different connectivity options for our customers.
Well, Fleming, we see a lot in AI today. It's transforming our lives, it's transforming everything we know. How do you see that in the connectivity world, and really how does Comcast for Business and what you're doing with Nitel?
Yeah, so I think we have gone through all kinds of cycles in the past. I'm old enough to remember still dial-up modems for connectivity using US robotics back in the days, all the way to where internet become a lot more of a commodity. Right now, the artificial intelligence type of workloads, from my perspective, the entire life cycle of AI really it's becoming more dependent on connectivity more so than ever, because you need to build the models in order to move to build those models, train those models. You need to move data. You need to move data very quickly, and the data doesn't seem to stop. We're constantly creating more data. Even in cybersecurity practices, you will see more audit logs. You have more information about documents. So from that perspective, from end to end, from model training, data center interconnectivity, large flows, we call it elephant flows, that kind of persistent connectivity is required at the very beginning. Make sure the models are actually trained, and also do so frequently. It's not just you train and forget. You always have to do fine tuning and other things. All the way to inferences. Now, I think as we enjoy SaaS for the last couple of decades already, we rely on SaaS to make decisions or maybe even compute. Now, in the future, I would say robots or edge compute are likely going to have to make decisions and inferences, and those decisions also require connectivity with very low latency. So that degree of dependency, in my eye, is what really going to reshape how we actually build in telecom space and really drive that outcome for AI entire cycle. Yeah.
And you made a very good point about connectivity. Now, for the first time, and I've been around for doing this a very long time, like yourself, maybe more. And for the first time, we're seeing that connectivity is the anchor for AI to work right, as you mentioned. And when we talk about that, there are different levels of connectivity. So moving large petabytes of data to the data scientist for them to train a model, for example, is a large amount of bandwidth. And sometimes it's coming from storage farms, and they use RDMA over Ethernet. And that comes over, and there may be a scientist team doing a certain vertical in one area of the world, another one doing another area of the world, and they're all working together in different areas of expertise, but yet they're training one model. So that's one aspect of where you need connectivity, correct? And you need a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then there's the part of then generating material that also when we prompt and say generate this poster, or there's generating. And then like you talked about inference, where you're doing maybe more computer vision stuff, or that is just really inferring things and saying classifiers. Is yes, no, is that a tree, is that a person? So is that kind of the different levels of connectivity, and are they all very different needs?
Yeah, that's what I exactly was thinking about as well. Like really between data centers, you see there's a lot of investment that's being put into data centers right now, right? Data centers are coming up to handle AI. What does that mean? That means you have a lot of computing there, and you in order to feed those compute, you're going to move a lot of data. So absolutely different classes of workloads are going to require different classes of connectivity requirements. I feel like going from small to large, from wired to wavelength to wireless, everything is going to turn up in this AI era. Yeah.
And interesting, you came from Barracuda, you said, and you see cybersecurity being part of this. I've been looking at this, and I really believe that connectivity alone is not going to work, because cybersecurity for AI has to be in place. You have to have guardrails. There's going to be now billions of agents going to be built. There's going to be models. There's going to have to be isolation policies, zero trust policies, classification of workloads. How do you see this cybersecurity for AI working?
Yeah, it's really, really, really important. Like you said, I mean, we understand the MITRE attack framework from left to right, and if you think about that, it's actually pretty much mapped to human behavior, like people clicking on things, people getting phished, so they expose their credentials. But in the AI agent world, these things can happen much quicker. If you somehow lose the identity of your agent, someone impersonates that agent and start taking over the let it be MCP kind of skills and tools that allows you to actually handle certain transactions behind the scene, you ultimately open up a brand new attack surface that sometimes it's kind of happening without you knowing, because humans, like you touched on the material, that was really cool. All the transformers is really designed to interface with humans. Let's build a poem, let's build a story, right? But underneath, there's so much data that could be valuable to the bad guys. They don't need to transform in a way that work with humans. They can work underneath and figure out where the entry point is at. Like you said, agentic it's a really good advancement in how we drive automation, but it also opens up the potential attack surface for bad guys. So identity management on the agent level, understand how this agent functions, and there's a protocol called A2A protocol, which is popular right now. It's getting adopted. It's open source. But if you have an agent card that represents some level of intelligence and workload behind the scene, that agent card could be stolen, could be impersonated. And if the trusts between agents are not established correctly, you can potentially lose data or leak data, or potentially lose control of the agent cluster or the framework very quickly, right? So to me, I think it's dire for us to start very much on the left when we're creating agents in this new era. Yeah.
And really, many people think that, agents, they're just a few doing many operational things. But I think we're going to see swarms of agents. Maybe we're predicting billions of agents. And I think you make a very good point that in the agentic realms of AI agents everywhere doing things of all kinds of workloads, and they're working together in swarms. I think you talk about, identity first. Like an agent has to have a credential, and the credential has to be trusted. So now you have different identity providers that are already federated, and there's centralized identity providers, decentralized ones that come emerging. Then you have to have, the authorization and policies. What can they do? What can an agent do? And then you have to fingerprint them to make sure that constantly what they're doing, they're within the guardrails of what they can do, and then an audit trail and so on. So all of this comes together, and yet these agents are built on different frameworks. So you might have an agent on one framework, another one on a different framework from different providers of the agentic kind of models or frameworks of building agents. And all of this has to come together. Is this the complexity has to be secured?
Yeah, the complexity involves identity, involves connectivity level of transmission, how the information is being shared, and there are organizations, including like Comcast. We don't let agents talk to agents until we figure out what it is. In fact, maybe the broadcast component of agentic agents needs to be, really managed, as well as using a layer of evals to understand the agent's performance and what they're doing is really important. I talk about the evaluation loops because most of the AI workloads are intended for a certain purpose, but then at the moment it's very general. If you think about what's out there for large language model, these models can answer any question. But if you get to a compliance cycle that's specific to your environment, to your users, and your customers, you have to have some level of check and balance and guardrails. And those are evaluation loops that could be sitting outside of or out of band of the AI agent itself. So yeah, those are the hierarchies and things that potentially will be very helpful in at least establish some foundation for security on agents. Yeah.
So does Nitel Connectivity and Platforms at Comcast Business, do you really have some of these offerings already? Did you already supply a lot of these connectivity for inference to training, and then also, which is a large bandwidth, massive wavelengths, so on, and also have the cybersecurity layer on top of that?
Right. So we currently do not offer any like AI specific workloads, sort of profiling and as a service kind of offering. What we have started in Nitel is provide intelligence on the network telemetry and also the customer's experience. By using read-only, not interactive, transformers behind the scene to really tell the user what's going on in the network. I think we're cautiously making that choice because we don't want to have a situation that not only could be problematic for how much the AI tools can actually do, but we want to actually manage it to that experience. So that's what we do right now, but we do not have categories of AI workloads. As far as what we're trying to do this is why I'm talking to you, Pascal, learning about the industry's trends and standards that could actually help us define that. Yeah.
No, so very interesting. So basically using internally AI for the operational aspects to automate as much as possible and to provide a lot of observability and visibility, namely. And I think that's very interesting. And I think many providers start that way. And I think the question will be now, how does agents from the enterprise, when they build their own agents, interface with your agents for both day end operation stuff and also day zero provisioning stuff? And I don't think we're there yet, right? That's what you're saying. We're not quite there yet.
We're not quite there yet, but I do want to make a minor correction there. Our AI agentic capability is exposed to our customers at the experience level. So if you get into our web portal, you will see a readout of what's going on with your network. If there's something worth investigation, it will pull the data and analyze it for you. So in the past, like how web portals behave is you go in there, there's beautiful graphs and many rows of data telling you something's wrong. It's hard to take action precisely related to that. So what we have done at Nitel is put something behind the scene to tell you in this location you have a chronicle issue. In this location you have an unusual situation. And also we intermix with our human data. So humans create tickets like, I have a problem with this connectivity. My restaurant is not able to process payments. When that kind of situation comes in, it all gets registered in this unstructured comments and case notes. What we did is we combined that human sort of generated data and the telemetry data and look for basically relationships and correlation. And that's what we did at Nitel. Yeah, so to that degree, ultimately offering a service on top will be actually pretty pretty easy. Like if you think of it like, oh, these in this location, you need this type of connectivity. You need this type of basically, I would just say quality of experience. Those are the things that we can drive better customer experience overall, right? Because when you have to deal with 2,000 locations, one or two, maybe it's not on your radar, but if AI is able to tell you, hey, go fix this, then you don't have to worry about, having one of your branches going down in the middle of the week. So from my perspective, those are the things that AI is going to be able to help in the near future, then ultimately inform the user how to even buy or acquire better connectivity or better options for the fleet of the stores or branch offices. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So, have you heard of this federated training? Has been talked about, where you take a model and you train. It's a specific model that you finely tune, and it's industry based. So they just announced a telco model, I think last week at the Mobile World Congress. And basically you put your data into it, and then another provider put their data into it, but the model will evolve without the data being propagated. So they're only sharing the weights. Kind of interesting. Any thoughts of that? Have you guys looked at that? Or did you train your own model?
Yeah, I love to look at it. Unintentionally, those are things we do. We get to the specifics, I would say prescriptive level for each customer. So the customer's environment is specific to customer A, B, C, right? We're not intermixing all of them. However, to me, I think the fine-tune model will have performance benefits, but at the same time, if you're able to leverage what's coming out of large language models with some telemetry that is specific to the environment, you're getting pretty close to what these federated training kind of output will be able to. So I think those are all great topics to investigate and figure out ways to collaborate. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting how fast this AI world is moving. I mean, I know you've come probably the same timelines I have, but I've been decades at this, 40 years almost. And I remember it takes 10 years for building the internet or even more. And now, like in 2 years, the AI is already, from just inferring from, AI ML to now generation, now to agentic worlds. And now we're talking about, this whole idea of federating and models. It's just overwhelming. So how do you see, Amplify collaborating with Comcast to kind of help in this new world that's moving so rapidly? We're an industry body that's supposed to help members like yourself to be able to utilize some base functions and then to innovate on top of that yourself.
Yeah, I think clear definitions of the workloads, like we talked about earlier, will help buyers and maybe partners make decisions on their acquisition of connectivity. The industry is not quite ready for immediate bandwidth on demand just yet, right? There's equipment, even the hardware has to eventually support that. But I think the understanding of the type of workloads for the entire life cycle of AI, from training to inference, in between there's tons of a lot of retraining, a lot of data movement. We call it the cognitive edge, basically moving data from here to resolve similar situations. Things like that will require some standardization on how you quantify and qualify those connectivity products. And to me, I think it's important to have some level of that, and we basically start driving towards not only commercializing, but actually just offering these workload-based products in a way that people can understand. Like I would just say we have seen like training data moving this way, and we want to present it to people who probably care more about the data, less so about the connectivity. They should be able to choose and say, hey, I want to do this too, right? And that kind of experience is what we need in the industry to really grow together with AI, not necessarily just follow, but not follow and impede, but we actually grow with it and be prepared to offer solutions that actually makes a difference. I use the use case that I think we chatted before, Pascal, is that robotics are going to be running around a lot everywhere in different form factors. Robotics in the past was stuck maybe in the manufacturing floor. It's all attached and it's just pre-programmed, microcontroller driven, all that, right? The future of robotics is going to be more human-like. It's going to walk around a little bit. It's going to learn a little bit. It's going to be more prescriptive in what you need it to do. So those will require a lot of connectivity, wireless perspective, right? And if you think about that, we need to address that class of workloads as well. So to me, I think there's a lot of opportunity for Amplify and Comcast to think through the business aspect of AI and how we function, between manufacturers, between restaurants, and between financial, everything, right? Like including government also. There's a lot of things to do together. Yeah.
But Fleming, that physical AI you talked about, do you believe they'll have a neural network and a model built inside, like we see with our cars, self-driving cars, like a Tesla has a model that just does inference? Do you think now with all the assets the telcos own at the edge, we saw the announcement last week again about the federated edge, about European coming together, operators federating all their edges together. Do you think that the edge is going to be an asset for the telcos, including Comcast, where you will infer with, much faster times for certain use cases and make your edge valuable and then load in GPU and the potentially specific models? Do you think that's a future?
I do. I do think the edge, it's almost a cycle. Like if you have more compute in the edge that you can actually provision and do certain things, that's the peak of the cycle where compute is stronger than connectivity. But if you have strong connectivity, the edge could actually be a little bit less capable to the degree where you can get to near edge faster. And then it's always like back and forth. Like if you have more compute on the edge, great, you can make decisions and all that. But we still need a control component, because if the robot goes out of control, you need to be able to shut it down. So you cannot be disconnected, right? But I think the level of compute and connectivity sort of oscillates in this cycle. When we have like really good connectivity, really good radios, we're able to operate without any jitters, and maybe the edge can be a little bit less powerful. But it's always a asset in a sense where you can manage the capability, manage the workloads, in the future state. So I think we're kind of in that super awesome realm where we're figuring all this out. At the moment, I feel like AI is moving really fast. Connectivity needs to catch up, but we need to figure out a way to be able to support that, and actually commercially, as well as driving an outcome that supports the future. And I think it's compute in all different areas of AI, and that's how we started the conversation. But I feel like that is right in front of us to drive some outcomes together. Yeah.
Well, Fleming, it seems like you're really enjoying your job, and it seems like a lot of fun. And I know we're all enjoying the AI era because it's all new and very innovative, and we like that. So I want to thank you for this episode. It's been really informative and really, really great. And good luck to you.
Thank you, Pascal. It's always fun to catch up with you. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Executives at the Edge, brought to you by Amplify. Be sure to follow, share, and leave a review. Catch every episode on your favorite platform or visit us at amplify.net.